I'm back with Morgan St. James, fiction writer, mystery writer. And speaking of which, we were just talking about how important book covers were. I have to give a personal shout out. If any of my fans, I know who you are and I know who you aren't, noticed I look a little bit different today. I've got some really great hair going on. My makeup's perfect, which isn't me. I'm kind of like, I could care less about all that, like one has to. Serendipitously, I stopped into an Ulta, and I got to shout it out, store in Henderson, and I never do this, so it must have been God or the universe directing me. Nancy Peppers works there. She's the esthetician at the Ulta store in Henderson on Water Street. And I love this woman. She immediately saw that I was not a dewy-faced, teenager. She didn't walk over me. She literally, she took me in and showed me how to do makeup and what makeup to buy for me. And the products that she showed me, you're going to have to go talk to her. Nancy Pepper. She's at the Ulta in Henderson on Water Street. I guarantee this woman will transform your life. Look what she did to me. So back to my special guest.
Yes.
Because now my book has a different cover. How much of you, Morgan, and I know you, we've had lunch, is in your characters, in your books?
Oh, a lot of me. A lot of me. And well, for instance, in the Silver Sisters mysteries, we have identical twins who are the amateur sleuths, and they're 50-ish. Of course, I've got a lot of years of experience at being 50.
It's a good thing. It's just a good thing.
But they're identical twins, but they're very different on the inside. And Goldie, the kind of over-the-hill hippie from Alaska, is modeled after my sister.
I kind of love
and
her already.
Godiva, who's an advice columnist from Beverly Hills who lives on an estate, she's modeled after me, but I'm always very quick to tell people that I didn't live in Beverly Hills on an estate, although one time I did live 2 houses out of Beverly Hills.
That's close
and
enough.
I'm nowhere near as selfish as Godiva.
But
and
yeah,
a lot of people ask me for advice, but I'm not an advice columnist, But the thing is, Phyllis and I, my sister and I, know exactly how our characters are going to act and think.
Interesting.
And it's really
Good point.
important to their personalities. Sometimes Phyllis will write something for Godiva, and I'll go, oh, no, she wouldn't give a tip that big. She's not that generous. She's not Goldie.
Bingo. That's
Yeah.
a very important
Yeah,
point.
and
Stephen
then-
King even addressed that in his
Yeah.
book on writing. Don't lie to your readers and don't treat
Right.
them like they're fools.
No, you have to be true to your characters' personalities and to their voice. Because, if I was writing Goldie, I would say something and my sister would say, oh, no, she'd take the man off the street, give him the shirt off her back, and then ask if she could take him to Goodwill to get him a coat.
Well, but I have a thing now that we're on that subject.
Yeah.
I've actually had a character of mine, some of my friends know her very well, Quinn, take off and run, and I found the plot and the characters were going someplace I had no idea it was going to go to, and I would blame them for carrying it that way, but it worked.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like they do become sentient beings, and they actually will take the plot and throw a twist in there.
I've had characters tell me things that I never fathomed. I have a book called Betrayed, and
It's true.
this one character, I was writing along. I click into automatic writing. I'm told I'm very lucky that not every writer does that, but sometimes I'll get on a roll, and I'll just keep writing and writing and writing and read it the next day and not remember writing part of it. And that's what happened with this character.
I can relate to that,
Yeah.
too. You go
He
into
took-
a place.
He
it's
took
another
me in a
place.
whole different direction, and I thought, hey, that's pretty good. He must have been following the story.
Yeah, where was I? I don't remember where I was. That's fascinating. We could actually probably do a whole show on that.
Oh,
I've had
yeah.
characters had me sobbing, and why are you doing that? Well,
Oh,
I,
me
I
too.
had to do it. They did it. I can always blame
Well,
them.
I wrote a book called The Bella Mafia with a co-author, Dennis
Oh,
N. Griffin.
I know
who
Dennis,
You know.
yes.
And this is a true story of Bella Capo. She had a very disturbing early life. I would literally be writing and crying at the same time because I was
done it.
fully in her character.
I've done it. Absolutely. Been in tears. And,
Yeah.
but I want to talk a little bit about your books that we have here.
Okay.
And you have an interesting project coming up.
Oh, I do.
Trust me, us writers, we could sit here all day and go on about the plots and the characters and the things like that.
Is this part one?
Yes, chapter and verse. back to our the people who are working on novels or whatever, and everyone knows it's hard to find an agent. I mean, a publisher.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go through the process. You have to have a literary agent, or you can't get to the publisher. Do you recommend that people go through all that effort? You know what it's like doing the synopsis and the blah blah, or do you think that, which I went on Kindle, that Kindle would be a good place for a first-time author, untried author
Well,
to?
you know, a lot of it depends on what the content is and what the author's expectations are. In our case, yeah, we went the route trying to get an agent and publisher for the Silver Sisters. And we did a stupid thing. I mean, there was because we were novices in
Right. Well, you have to
fiction.
start someplace.
Yeah, and we had interest from an agent that had handled a series called The Southern Sisters that was very successful. And she was interested in our book, Corpse in the Soup. She wanted an exclusive for 30 days. We said, oh, no, we can't give you an exclusive for 30 days. And that was the end of it.
Yes, it
you
was.
know,
There's
and
a-
she probably would have been a good agent for us because the author of The Southern Sisters had passed away, and she was looking for something to fill that slot.
Right,
And
a
we
lot
were
of-
probably it.
A lot of agents want 6 months exclusive rights to your book, which means you can't touch your
Yeah.
baby manuscript sitting there, and that's a whole other story. What have we here?
Well, these are a couple of my books.
Okay.
First of all, I was writing columns for Examiner.com for a long time, and I've written over 600 articles
And
about
that
the
is
craft
on our
and business
website.
of writing.
Yes,
yeah.
that's on Morgan's
And
website.
people kept asking me when I spoke at conferences, well, where can I get your book? And I didn't have a book. So I decided to consolidate some of the columns that I've written with the most pertinent information, and the result was Writer's Tricks of the Trade, which
Great.
has been a good, handy little handbook for writers at all stages of their career.
That's very nice.
And then Ripoff, this is a fun book. I've done a lot of things in my life, as I believe
Yes.
you have.
Yes,
Right? We
that's
talked about
chock full,
that.
yeah,
right,
love
right.
it.
And this was inspired when I worked for a marketing company, or after I left them actually, a marketing company that was marketing furniture made in federal prisons. And
there's a story
most
there.
people would think that that's a very small business. You know, they think license plates. I'm going to surprise you now. That business is close to $1 billion a year, and they can only sell to the federal government. Well, after my co-author and I left the company, we thought, this would be ripe for a rip-off scheme.
And ripe
And-
it was. I'm just
yeah.
reading the back cover. Every year, about 800 million of merchandise is manufactured in federal prison, and that's a fact. Well, we're running out of time because we're
Oh,
having way too much
okay.
fun again as usual. And these books are available online.
Yes, online, right.
And your website, I know Scotty has it scrolled on the screen, is www.
Morgan St. James, STJAMES -author.com.
And also, you have blogs on writing and tips.
Oh, yeah. I publish a writer's e-zine every other month called Writer's Tricks of the Trade. We have the Writer's Tricks of the Trade radio show on Blog Talk Radio and also on YouTube.
All of this information is available on the internet, and also you're on Facebook. We're friends
Right.
on Facebook. Well, goodness, time flew again. Every time we get together, it's like we blinked our eyes or something. We have to go. Real quick, I was going to mention a couple things coming up in town. The Judd sisters are coming in. Love the Judds.
Oh,
For us older people, Kansas and Cleostocal are going to be performing Labor Day weekend downtown. Placido Domingo, he's going to be
Oh,
at the
love his
Coliseum.
voice.
Yeah, I hate to rush everybody. All of this you can find on www.vegasonlyentertainment.com under Vegas VIIPS, which is or VIPPS, very important persons and places. Morgan, thank you.
Oh, well,
This
thank you
zipped.
so much for having me.
And
this has been such fun.
We'll have to do it again. All month of September, we're going to be doing authors and everything to
Okay.
support the Vegas Valley Book
Well,
Festival.
I'll tell you, we could do a whole show on the project I'm working on now.
Okay, we'll have to do that. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.